If you don't like what Israel is doing, and the president has made it clear that some of what Israel is doing he doesn't like,
that's right.
and you go on supplying them with hardware to do those things, you own this operation every bit as much as they do, don't you?
No, we don't.
Nancy Pelosi was asked some rather tough questions about the United States and its support for Israel's war on Gaza while at the Munich Security Conference. Now, I'm happy that she was asked this difficult question. I wish we had more journalists here in the United States who would ask this specific question to Democrats in charge, including Joe Biden. But one DW reporter, that's an outlet in Germany, asked what we've all wondered. If Biden believes that Israel is carrying out indiscriminate bombings in Gaza, if Biden does in fact have problems with how Israel is carrying out this war in Gaza, why does he keep sending them weapons? Why is he asking for $14 billion additional dollars to send in military aid to Israel? Well, here's how Pelosi responded to that question.
We have always supported Israel as our national security friend, largely because it was in our interest to do so. Largely because it was in do so. We had shared values and only democracy in the region. The behavior of Netanyahu is, in my view, inexcusable in terms of how it has affected the collateral damage to children and families and the rest. But nobody can take away the right of any country to defend itself that has been brutally attacked in that way.
Oh, wow, Cenk. So Pelosi has a problem with what Netanyahu is doing. And she's kind of mildly speaking out against it in her answer at the Munich Security Conference. Does that mean that she's getting paid by Russia now for having moral issues with Netanyahu and his far-right government and the atrocities that they're committing in Gaza? Because that's what she's claimed of pro-Palestinian protesters in the United States.
Yeah.
Anyway.
So, yeah, look, everything she says is nonsense. There are our national security ally. Why? We share values.
What values?
Yeah, what does that even mean? Even if it was true, what does that mean? Why is that a national security issue? And the most common lie, it's the only democracy in the region. Number one, if you're imprisoning 5 million people, you're not exactly a stellar democracy. Number two, Turkey's in the region, they're a democracy. So should we, oh, by the way, should we just give them $14 billion right now? Oh, no. We don't share their values? What's the values exactly? Anyway, all of this is nonsense. They're all gonna support Israel 100%. And she says it there, they're not gonna question them. And so all this talk of like, oh, tut Netanyahu. Well, yeah, the Israelis hate Netanyahu too. And so it's a safe thing to say when you're making sure that you're doing absolutely nothing to fix this problem. We might have millions of people watching this show, but you can be the difference maker because we just need 1% of our audience to be paid members, and then this show can be around forever. So you can make that difference. Click join now.
So she was asked again, why are you sending weapons to Israel if you're being critical of Netanyahu and how this war is being carried out? And I have to say, her answer was one of the most dishonest things I have heard her say. And that's a very high bar. Nancy Pelosi says all sorts of dishonest things. This is among the worst. Let's watch.
Last week, the EU's foreign policy chief, Josep Borrell, wondered aloud why the US isn't doing more to have its warnings taken seriously in Jerusalem. If you believe, he said, that too many people are being killed, maybe you should provide fewer arms in order to prevent so many people being killed. He's got a point, hasn't he?
Israel is very well equipped with weaponry. There's nothing that we have sent since October 7th that has contributed to this brutality. In the longer run, they're in a dangerous neighborhood, and we will continue to support Israel.
So the idea that the United States hasn't sent more weapons to Israel since this war began is a complete and utter lie. First of all, we're all familiar with Biden's call for an additional $14 billion in military aid to Israel. Now, luckily, that keeps failing in Congress because of how dysfunctional Congress is. But I have no doubt that eventually that military aid will pass. But I also want to remind you of something that Biden did. he actually went around Congress to do something that I don't know, since he went around Congress to do it, maybe Pelosi is completely unaware and ignorant of this fact. But Secretary of State Anthony Blinken had told Congress that he had made a second emergency determination covering a $147.5 million sale for equipment to Israel, including fuses, chargers, and primers that is needed to make the 155 millimeter shells that Israel has already purchased function. And then Blinken made a similar decision earlier on December 9th to approve the sale to Israel of nearly 14,000 rounds of tank ammunition worth more than $106 million. So there is a loophole that allows for the executive branch to send military aid to our so-called allies without having to deal with Congress, the ability to do so unilaterally. And they did it twice. So she's a liar. She's a complete and utter liar. She wants to support what Israel's doing while kind of like wiping her hands clean of any wrongdoing by the United States government, as if the US government hasn't vetoed 3 UN resolutions for a ceasefire, as if the United States hasn't provided support both rhetorically and through their actions to the far right government of Israel. And you're right, Cenk, she said it right there. We're gonna continue supporting Israel. So I'm just getting real tired of watching Democrats flail at having their cake and eating it too. You guys support everything Israel's doing, so just be honest about that. Don't try to walk that fine line because they're not actually walking a fine line. They're providing Israel with everything Israel wants. And the only thing that has stopped the passage of that $14 billion supplemental military aid package to Israel is the dysfunction that we're currently experiencing in Congress.
So I'll tell you why she's doing it in a second, but she said that Israel's very well equipped. We don't need to send them any more money. Oh, good news, then let's not. Oh, wait a minute, you're the one trying to push $14 billion through to Israel to do more bombings. That's military equipment.
But Cenk, why are they well equipped? Why are they well equipped?
Well, Anna, and that's the second thing I was gonna get to. Why are they well equipped? Because we've already given them $3.8 billion every year. If somebody gave you $4 billion for the last 40 years, you'd be really well equipped too. And who did that? Nancy Pelosi, Joe Biden, the Democratic Party, the Republican Party, they all did that. And then on top of that, Joe Biden sent $250 million on top in the middle of the war. So every part of what she said is a giant lie. And we're an honest news show, so we don't care what party you're in. If you lie, we're gonna call you a liar. If you say that on mainstream media, their heads would explode. That is the beloved angelic Nancy Pelosi. You can't call her a liar. That's true. You can't say things that are true. Well, how else are you gonna do propaganda for the Democratic Party? Well, we're not. That's your job if you're in mainstream media. Our job is to tell the truth. So why are they pretending? Because in the past they wouldn't pretend. They'd say the things that she said there and be done with it. Well, they got a right to defend themselves. I mean, 2,900 people, 29,000 people, killed 290,000 people, 2.9 million. There's no limit to defending yourself, right? In the beginning, if you were going after the hostages, that's defending yourself. They're not going after the hostages, and they've leveled 90% of Gaza. Who the hell are you kidding? But in the past, they would just say that, and they would say, oh, did you notice that racist thing she said? They're in a scary neighborhood. Okay, all right. So Michigan's the answer. It's a 5-alarm fire within the Democratic Party. They cannot win the general election without winning Michigan. Michigan has a lot of Muslim and Arab voters. That is why every Democrat out there right now is out there pretending that they care about Palestinian lives. 99% of them are giant liars. They go on TV and they're like, oh my God, Arabs, we found out they're human too. We just thought they were scary, but it turns out they're also human beings. Oh, we care so much about them. And then they turn around, they're like, 14 billion, send it, kill them all, send 14, send 17, who cares, kill them. Oh, I mean, I am so concerned. Oh golly gee, are Palestinians dying? Oh, Israel, don't do that. 14 billion, send it, or come on, send it, kill them. Oh, I mean, I care so much about them. That is what your actions are screaming, Nancy Pelosi. And anyone honest would say the same exact thing.